Welcome back again. We are reporting live here at Black Lives Matter Plaza. At the top of the broadcast, we asked the question about the progress being made. How much of it have we made, in fact? And of course, a good measure of that would be police reform, which has been the thing that advocates and activists have been asking for and demanding since the death of George Floyd. Joining me right now, Matthew Torres, to help break down this story for us. So Matthew, what changes have we seen from a law enforcement perspective?
Well, even though this topic will continue to be moving forward, something that activists have been pushing forward, there have been those small victories. And for the most part, Larry, you know this, they have been permanent changes, not just within the local level, but the state level as well. What's been interesting is that these measures have really just been sweeping and historic, a lot different from what we saw compared to right before George Floyd's death. Let's start in Maryland, where despite Governor Larry Hogan's disapproval,
A couple of the provisions in there are pretty dangerous, and I think are going to put police officers and civilians' lives at stake.
lawmakers still passed a landmark police reform package, becoming the first state in the country to repeal its law enforcement officers' Bill of Rights, which provided robust protections to officers accused of misconduct. The new law requires officers' actions to be necessary and proportional, and giving civilians a role in how police are disciplined.
It will now put the officers in a position where they don't have this, I call the crush to fall back on.
Similar to Maryland, Virginia also passed a bill prohibiting no-knock search warrants, inspired by the death of Breonna Taylor.
Taking a step forward to making sure other families don't suffer the same loss as your family.
The reform bill also prohibits the use of chokeholds in the Commonwealth and expands the ability to decertify officers who commit misconduct.
Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter!
And just weeks after George Floyd's death, D.C. passed an emergency legislation banning neck restraints, limiting use of deadly force, and releasing the names of officers involved in shootings and their body camera footage within 5 business days. It also established a police reform commission, helping push for behavioral health care professionals to dispatch as first responders to some emergency calls. Members listed other recommendations in this new report for council to approve getting rid of school resource officers, banning consent searches, and decriminalizing minor offenses linked to poverty.
It gives us all a roadmap for reimagining public safety in a holistic manner, and it asks us to reduce the role of policing in society and realign services across the district to make communities healthier and more resilient.
And D.C. Council is now considering 4 bills which would propose limiting police pursuits, investigating white supremacy bias within the police department, as well as reforming how to assess threats and adding more restrictions for officers before they can conduct a search in empty vehicles. And Larry, this is just one example again of how city officials not just continuing the conversation around police reform, at least here in D.C., but also keeping the forefront of a lot of people's minds.
Yeah, that conversation is so important, right? Because in order to get change, you need everyone at the table. There's been questions about Black Lives Matter Plaza, its fate. What can you tell us about that?
And so right now, just in recent weeks, they've actually just started allowing cars to drive through. But DDOT, with the approval of the mayor's office, is asking now to propose having these traffic lanes on both sides of the road, but then having a 14-foot walkway right in the middle for pedestrians. And so DDOT says this will not only be a permanent art installation, but this will help businesses who may have been affected by the road closure. However, this is being met with opposition from advisory neighborhood commissioners, as well as residents. For one thing, they say this is really prioritizing drivers instead of pedestrians. They feel that this would be more open, considering the name is Plaza.
Right.
And also the fact that they feel like there wasn't enough public input, especially from Black Lives Matter advocates. And so DDOT did admit they did not get input from the Black Lives Matter group. But they did say that this is more of an infrastructure issue as part of the first plan of this proposal.
So lots to dig into that.
No doubt.
As well.
No
Matthew,
doubt.
thank you so much.